Hello everyone and welcome. Today we're going to be discussing something very interesting and important, which is how to teach your children something new or how to explain something to them that they are currently struggling to understand. I'm going to be sharing with us 5 strategies which have worked for us so far and which are also based on all the teachings that I have from the Montessori training that I did and different things that I've learned from different places. So my name is Nkemsinachi Ago from the Montessori Home Education Academy. I run the Montessori Home Education program for parents of 0 to 6 year olds. I also have a free Montessori WhatsApp group. If you're interested, I'll share the link below in the description. So we're going to get started. Now, the first strategy I'll be sharing with us is something we need to pay attention to when we want to teach our children any particular thing at all. And that first strategy is focus. So if you want to, let's say, read a book to your child, there might be that temptation to have like 5 different books and say, maybe they'll be interested in one of them. Now that is okay if you want to teach them how to make choices. So it's fine to say, okay, we have these 3 books, for instance, which one do you like? If you're interested in any of these books, Guess How Much I Love You, Baby Goes to Market, and Everybody Has a Body. I'll also put the authors and the titles fully in the description as well. But when you tell your child, okay, which one do you want to read maybe for bedtime, they might pick one or the other. When they do that, make sure that you take away the other ones, because if you have 3 of them in front of you, there's a tendency that they'll start with one and then they'll read, oh, I like this other one, and they'll jump, and we might complain, oh, they are distracted, they are not focusing, they are not concentrating. Meanwhile, we have facilitated their lack of concentration. So let them make a choice, very good for decision making, but once they make that choice, take the rest away. So that is for reading a book, for instance. Now, if you're teaching them something else, maybe you want to teach them about numbers or letters, then if you want to focus, say, numbers 1 to 10, you will not now bring a material that is covering 1 to 1000, right? Unless you're trying to teach the general decimal system, for instance. So pick what you want to talk to them about, or pick what it is that they are struggling with that you want to explain, and make sure that you're focusing on that for that day, even what is around them. Reduce, limit, remove anything that is going to make them look left, right, and all that. So that's one key thing. The second one is layering. Now, layering is so key because I think I had shared a video before where my daughter had seen a reflection on the ceiling. I think it was a torchlight, and she said, oh, look at this. Or it was through the mirror. I'll share the video anyways. And I said, it is just like the eclipse. Remember when we were watching the eclipse and we used this pinhole projector to see the reflection of the sun and how it was blocking the moon and all that with the cardboard box? And I said, this is just similar, right? We are shining the light here and it's reflecting here and all that. So it's so key to connect whatever they are trying to learn to something they already know, right? Of course, at a younger age, they may not know so much, but you can always find something if you think about it. And if you have it as your intention to use that method, then you're going to see what do they know that is even remote. It doesn't even need to be so connected, just saying that, for example, I have this here. I have a globe. So this is the Sandpaper Globe. Just telling a child, for example, that this is like a ball, right? We're not going to be talking about balls when we're talking about the earth, right? But we can just say this is shaped like a ball, but maybe the top is flat. You've already told them something they know, so they know that this is not completely new, because really, nothing really exists in isolation. There's always something else you can probably connect it to. So being able to do that, that's layering. It helps them to say, okay, I know something, I don't know this other thing, and there's a possibility, there's space for me to learn, and there's that opportunity for me to learn. I was also reading this book the other day. This is The Psychology of Money by Housel. And so this page, my daughter saw it, and it's a graph, right? So we're talking about labor force participation. And the first thing she saw is, what are you reading? And then she said, it looks like a staircase. So, and she's fond of saying something is like this, something is like that. And I think a lot of children tend to do that as well, where that comparison is being done. Oh, this looks like something that I know, so I could probably know more about it. So she said it looks like a staircase, and then I said, yes, it looks like a staircase, like the one here and the one there, but this is a graph, and so on. So I just talked a little bit about it. Of course, with our plan for that day was not to discuss graphs, but it came up and she was even the one that suggested what it looked like. So sometimes you can equally ask them, what else have you seen that looks like this? What else can you think about? Another example of this layering is my daughter wanted to draw, she's 4 now, she wanted to draw a circle, and she had, the shape I had given her was a very small, very small. She said she wanted a big circle, and she was almost getting frustrated. I said, okay, calm down, let's think, what can you think of, that is a big circle like the one you want to draw? And she looked around, she found the lead for something. I said, wow, you solved the problem. So even if you cannot think of something on your own, ask them. It even makes them involved in that learning. What do you, what else have you seen that looks like this thing I'm about to show you? And as much as possible, you want to have physical items to connect to that abstract thing you're trying to teach them, depending on their age. So comparison is very key. Another thing you want to know is, so with comparison, in terms of teaching, sorry, that was layering. So comparison, when you want to teach, for example, colors, like when I was teaching my 1-year-old, red, yellow, blue, I didn't just go and say, this is red, and maybe start showing her red cup, red spoon, red. That is all nice, but she's still going to be distracted by the fact that this is a spoon, this is a cup, this is a plate, all those details. But there's this good material we have. Of course, you mustn't use this material, but you can find something similar. Now, this is from the color tablets. Let me see if I can show you the full box. So this is a set of, colors and different shades. If I want to teach her red, for instance, I wouldn't focus on red alone. I would prefer to show her red, yellow, and blue. I also have a video where I talked about the 3-period lesson, but definitely we can go into it a little bit. The 3-period lesson, you would normally say, you start by saying the name of an item, or usually 2 or 3 items in comparison. So you say, this is red, this is yellow, this is blue. You say it one at a time. So this is red, the child will look at it, touch it, smell it if it's something that has a smell, and try to repeat that red after you, right? And then you say, show me red. So you're trying to see if the child can remember, which one you said was red. You can point at it again. So after you have said this is red, the child holds it, tries to say red. It depends on their age, whether they are talking and all that. Then they try, this is yellow, they hold the yellow, they look at it. They're already comparing that, okay, red looks like this, yellow looks like this. They are beginning to get that you're focusing on colors. And then you go back, you say, this is blue, they hold it, they look at it, and then they try to say blue. Then the next thing you say is, show me red, show me blue. You can start with the last one, and they'll quickly remember, most likely, that this is blue. You can say, show me yellow, so they can point at yellow, and then show me red. That will also be this. Then the last part of this 3-period lesson is where you would now try to recall if they can even say the word by themselves. So you can say, what is this? And then they could repeat red. If they don't remember it, you can say, this is red. What is this? This is yellow. And what is this? You say, they would say, this is blue, right? If they don't remember, you'll go back a step or 2 steps. So that comparison is very key, because now they can understand that you're teaching them colors, the focus is colors, and they can see the clear difference that, okay, blue looks this way, yellow looks this way, red looks this way. But if I just go straight and teach them, maybe I'm focusing on yellow, and I just bring out all the yellow tablets, and I say, this is yellow. Already you've thrown too much at the child, and they're saying, well, this is yellow, this is yellow. Okay, some shades are darker than others, but you're already going into an advanced concept when they haven't even finished getting the concept of colors. So it's very important you do comparison, start with 2 or 3 items that are in the same class of what you want to teach, and then over time you begin to break it down. Oh, you know that yellow still has multiple shades, red has multiple shades, and so on. So comparison is very key. The next one I'll be talking about is repeat and advance. So repetition is so important. Sometimes we will be reluctant. Oh, they're reading a book, they've read this book 100 times, like every bedtime, which book are you going to read? They pick the same one. The truth is, it's usually for a while, they're not going to read that book forever. no matter how it seems. So just remember that some of the things you're doing it for them. You're making some sacrifices. You're going to cram some of these stories by force because you have read it too many times. But it is in that repetition that they learn. Mastery is very key for a child. They do something, they repeat it until they master it, then they move on to something else. But if we are reluctant to support that mastery, maybe because we are bored of doing the same thing over and over again, then they might miss out on some skills they are trying to build. So you want to make sure that even with the toys that you buy, don't be in a hurry to buy 100 at a time. Buy one, two, or three, just for variety, and let them work on it, work through it. If you're reading books, 2 or 3, you can actually read one book for an entire week, but by the time you're done with it, they have learned almost everything learnable, if that's correct, from the book. They are learning the tenses, they're learning the rhymes, they are seeing the pictures. This one is about a hair, right? There's a big nut brown hair, and so they are seeing big and small. There are so many concepts that can be picked from one book. So each time they read it, they get something new. Each time they read it, they get something new. When they get to that point when they are no longer getting anything new, you would see that's also probably when they start looking for something else. So don't be in a hurry to move from one thing to the other. Let them repeat. Another good example of why repetition is important is, I have, for example, trying to teach a child about mammals or maybe a horse or living things. And let's focus on a horse. And we start with a trip to the zoo. You go to a zoo, you see farm animals, you see a horse, maybe they even get to ride on a pony. That's a very real life experience. Most of the time when we're introducing concepts in a Montessori classroom, using the Montessori curriculum, we always try to start with the real life item if you can access it. So horses are typically accessible in a zoo. Sometimes if you go to a beach, depending on where you are. But if you cannot find a real life item, you move to maybe video or picture. So we go for a trip to the zoo to see horses, learn about horses. And then from there, you can now go to maybe looking at pictures of horses. And then from pictures of horses, you can also do like a coloring page, for a horse. So I traced this out of a horse puzzle that I have here. I'm going to show us soon. Now, if you have this, the child can color it in. This is repetition. They've seen a horse. You're trying to also help them commit these things to memory. I was listening to a back-to-school masterclass. I was facilitated by Coach Wendy Ologe and 3 different facilitators from last year. And they had talked about how sometimes we teach children a concept, but there is no plan for them to commit that concept to memory. We just teach them once and it's like, I've taught you, that's it. Go and do wonders with it. So for everything that you teach, you want to make a plan for them to commit these things to memory. And that comes from repetition. Repeat, repeat, repeat. So I would say repeat and advance. So we went to the zoo. We saw the horses. We experienced the horses. Now we're going to be coloring horses. After coloring horses, maybe you can even draw them depending on your age and how skilled the child is. And then after that, you now have this horse puzzle, which is part of a set of animal puzzles. We've had this for some years already, and the way we use it has been changing. So now, still on the horses, right? This is a puzzle piece. You can just move it. This is the head, the forelegs, the hind legs. With this same puzzle, you can do almost 100 things, to be honest. You can trace the horses. Like I said, I traced from this onto this page to make it either a coloring page or to make it an accompanying part of this puzzle. So the first time my older daughter was working with this, it wasn't easy for her to, if you remove all the pieces, it wasn't easy to reassemble it, right, without a guide. So this same thing that could be a coloring page was used for her to now take, from the head, she will place it on the head, on the head of the puzzle piece, kind of matching it, and being able to transfer the pieces to the paper and back to the board. So that activity, just doing it back and forth multiple times a day, of course, now she can assemble it without using this, this page. Again, I have a 1-year-old who, with this page, she can color it in or color it out. Probably not fitting within the lines, but she's working with horses. She has gone to the zoo. She wasn't keen on riding the horse like my older daughter, but she saw a horse, right? So with the same item, and then different children, different age groups, you can use it multiple times. Most of the toys in quotes we have, it's usually Montessori Materials. We have used them for years and we keep using them in different ways. So don't be in a hurry to throw something away because you feel they've outgrown it, check how else can you use it. And then before you even buy, you want to make sure you are choosing items that can be used in multiple ways, which is why I honestly love the Montessori materials. And not everything that you just see Montessori is automatically a Montessori material. Not everything you see that is wooden is that material. So when you know your child, when you understand them, when you observe them, of course, it's very helpful to be able to now say, oh, they're interested in this, I can help them with that. So let's not deviate so much. Repeat and then advance in complexity. The last thing you can even do with this same puzzle is learning the parts of a horse. So that's typically in the 3 to 6 age range. You can now start talking about the four legs, the hind legs. You can use pictures, they can write it out, they can read it out, all depending on their abilities. So make sure you are putting the materials that you have at home to the best use possible before you move on from them. And the last part I would like to talk about in terms of teaching our children new things, the last strategy is knowing their learning style. Now, this is so key because the way we teach our children and the way they learn things, it varies, right? So if you are teaching from the point of how you like to learn, you might be missing the mark with them because they learn in a completely different way. So I would like to point out that it is okay for a child to move when they are learning something, when we are teaching them. In fact, movement is encouraged. Sometimes we are so conscious of them sitting in a place, sitting in a spot, on a chair, don't move, listen to me, look at me 100% of the time, and it's just not easy. Plus, it's not even advisable. The more they move, the better they commit things to memory. There's this saying, I hear by Confucius, I hear, I forget, I see, I remember, I do, I understand. So already we have some of the learning styles being mentioned here. So hearing, the auditory learner who likes to hear things, maybe voice, it can be voice notes, audio, it can be videos, someone talking. It helps them a lot. Sometimes listening to music while they are doing something else, it really helps them. And then you have, see, I understand, the visual learners. So those that they want to see, whatever you're saying, if you haven't written it down for them to see, you're going to miss the mark. If they cannot, easily revisit it. Someone like me, for example, I love a very good PDF document. I learned how to use Adobe Photoshop with PDFs. People would tell me, oh, you need to use a video. It will just show you very quickly. And I just couldn't sit through some videos. You might even notice my videos tend to be short for what I try to explain in the videos. But of course, I'm equally changing some of those things because while you have a predominant learning style, you want to be able to benefit from some of the other learning styles depending on what you're doing. Now, back to our children. If you know their learning style and if you understand that movement, regardless of any learning style, is very key, it will help us to manage our expectations and to use it to our advantage. So we have, here I'm going to share, these are the number rods. It's a mathematical material for teaching numbers as composite quantities. So I know we did part of this in our Montessori home education program, so some of you might be familiar with that. Now this is 1, 2, and 3. The rest of it is somewhere here. So with this, the child will typically be told to, bring one rod, right? Bring the first one. And the child will carry it, maybe it could be a short distance, a long distance, and they carry it, they know they're holding one rod. So they are committing to memory that this is light, this, at least when they start comparing, they'll see it's lighter than the next one. This is light, this is short. They have the time to focus on that item that they are carrying. Because if your purpose for moving to a place and coming back is to pick an item, then you're going to focus on that item. So they are seeing it, they are touching it, they are carrying it, they are feeling the weight, they're seeing the color, and then they bring it to you. And then you say, get me 2. They bring 2. Again, from a short distance or a long distance, depending on how you want to set it. The child can run to it. It's so exciting for them. And they pick it. This is 2. It's getting longer. It's getting heavier. And they see it. You put it by the side. Get me 3. They pick the next one. They see red, blue, red. It's getting heavier in their hands. So by carrying these rods to and fro, it's also helping them to commit to memory. When they try to think about 1, they remember how they went to that place to pick it up. Think about 2, think about 3. So in a lesson like this, for example, they are doing comparison, they are doing repetition, getting the numbers, but it's increasing in complexity. There is movement, which is very important for kinesthetic learners, but generally for all learners, it really helps them commit to memory. So you want to understand your child's learning style. I think I have a link. I'll also make sure I put that in the description. I've promised a lot of things in the description. I hope I put all of them. But when you do all of this, it's really going to help you to make sure that one way or the other, your child is going to pick what they need to learn. That new concept you're trying to teach them, or that topic they are struggling with in school or wherever, or you just want to pass across in your home, make sure that you follow these 5 strategies, and it's really going to help you and help them as well. In fact, you will probably start teaching yourself the same way if you're maybe enrolled in any adult education program or whatever it is. So I hope I've been able to help you out with teaching your child. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. If you want to learn more about our program, also see the description. And I hope to get in touch with you all next time. Let me know what else you want to talk about. Let me know what challenges your children might be having that you're interested in learning about the Montessori way, and we'll be sure to do a video on that. Take care, everyone, until next time.